With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and this is going to be an interesting video because I do believe a lot of people are going to have a lot of different thoughts and opinions about it. So what we're looking at right now is Sargon of Akkad's YouTube account. You see he's got 760,000 subscribers, and he's been at this game for a long time. He's earned everything he's gotten. But as of today, he's been locked out of his account. Not that his account's been suspended, that his Google account has been suspended. So over here on Big League Politics, they cover it by saying, Sargon on YouTube suspension, extremists must view me as a threat. Now, this is the image here that he shared on social media this morning, saying the Google account, Sargon of Akkad 100@gmail.com, was disabled because it looked like it was being used in a way that violated Google's policies. Now, Sargon has said that he has no idea what caused this. He has no idea because there's no strikes on his channel. And that's been a thing going around right now. A lot of people have been getting knocked down, especially conservative channels. And that has led a lot of people out there to argue that this is, in fact, a YouTube purge. And honestly, I don't entirely know if that's the case or not. And I think we're dealing with something here that's a little bit... I think we're dealing with something that YouTube doesn't want to quite come out and talk about yet, but I will get to that. So it says today that earlier today, Google suspended Sargon of Akkad, a pro-free speech liberal who has crusaded against social justice warrior culture that is prevalent among many liberals. The tech giant gave no other reason besides the ambiguous claim that he violated Google's policies. This move by Google leaves Sargon with zero access to his popular YouTube account, which has amassed over 200 million video views and around 760,000 subscribers. Now, when Big League Politics spoke to Sargon, this is what he says. He says, I think it's because extremists on the right pose no actual threat to the extremists on the left, whereas centrist classical liberal ideas really do. When it comes to the left's radical collectivism and animus against white people, fair-minded individualist, anti-racist mindset is infinitely more preferable. Now, to that, I do have to kind of push back a little bit, simply because I did cover this last night on my live stream. The video will post this weekend, where YouTube took down the Atom Waffle channel, which is a group of neo-Nazis that has been linked both directly and indirectly to the death of 5 people, as well as having one of their members go to jail for 5 years for stockpiling bomb-making components. Additionally, they were also booted off of Discord because they were using Discord and YouTube to recruit members, and it's been reported that they've recruited upwards of 80 people. So there's clearly a purge happening here, and I'm just wondering how much of it is a legitimate, like taking down places like Atom Waffle, those kind of channels, and people like Sargon getting caught up in the mix simply because there are probably in the Venn diagram of political ideologies a little bit of overlap in terms of them not liking people on the left and how the extremists on the left have gotten. So it says here that the fact that Google couldn't even give a reason for his suspension brings up a ton of questions about the motives behind his targeting. And it also is highly confusing considering the fact that actual extremists continue to actively use the platform. Active channels on YouTube include white nationalist Richard Spencer's website and violent Antifa groups like Redneck Revolt, who have provided guerrilla warfare training to their members. Sargon of Akkad has been vocal about his opposition to both groups, even having a debate with Spencer. Spencer is alt-right GOP, you know, he's like the Gap poster boy for the alt-right, you know what I mean? Like, and Antifa and the Redneck Revolt, yeah, but as long as they're not, it all depends on what they're saying. And that's what Susan Wojcicki has said, especially in regards to why they didn't take down Logan Paul for the Suicide Forest video, or the tasing rat video, or the faking of his own death video. There's a lot that can go into the idea of freedom of expression and free speech, and they have to weigh their options very, very, very carefully. This feels like it was something that might have been not as sinister as it's being made out to believe. And, you know, he goes on to say that it's clear to any reasonable person that Sargon is in no way a dangerous person. He may have some beliefs that ruffle some feathers, but his belief system has no violent undertones, like many who are still allowed to use the platform. And that is also true. But to go, there's the old adage of the squeaky wheel does get the grease, and that could be one of the reasons why Sargon was caught up in this. However, we do have a little bit of an inside track, and that would be Ben the Trusted Flagger over on Twitter, who was alerted to this by Derek Blackman, aka Some Black Guy, earlier today. And he says what happened was YouTube terminated loads of accounts that were linked to any channel terminated for copyright infringement dating back to before 2017. I've passed him away. He should be able to access his account in the meantime, as it's suspended rather than terminated. So he might still be able to get it back, but there is right now a pending lawsuit, a civil suit, between Sargon of Akkad and Akilah Hughes over a video that he uploaded to his channel last year. And she thought that it was, basically abusing her copyright. So she's filed a civil suit against him. It's still going on. There's, I don't know quite where where it's at right now, but she did strike it down via DMCA. And there have been other organizations like The Guardian and I think the BBC that have also gone after Sargon for his video responses over the course of the past couple years. So it could be likely that in this particular case, the chickens have come home to roost, although I don't believe that. I mean, that could be their argument for it, and I kind of feel that's essentially here what Ben is suggesting. He has also provided no other information as to how Sargon can come back from this or what more things have popped up. But this is where we get a little bit on the crazier side, because now there's been a wrench thrown into the trusted flagger system, because now people are going to be asking whether or not Ben here is a solid source of intel, because on Tucker Carlson last night, he ran a whole segment about how YouTube's trusted content flaggers include a wholly discredited hate group. Now, this is Tucker Carlson being Tucker Carlson, and I know conservatives are going to use this as kind of like the gotcha moment for everything else. And look, I'm not saying that the system is great. Bringing in the SPLC, or the Southern Poverty Law Center, as well as the Anti-Defamation League, are not the best sources of objective viewpoints when it comes to dealing with this particular situation. But this goes on to say that Tucker Carlson reported that YouTube, through its parent organization Google, is enlisting trusted flaggers to delete questionable video content from its platform. However, he said one group hired by YouTube is a Southern Poverty Law Center, which he says is not an expert on the South, law, or poverty. Okay. They're not. I read their article recently trying to say that Christina Hoff Sommers was basically pushing male supremacy and MRAs or like the alt-right. And it was just, this is just where the left has gone recently. And YouTube, yes, being based in Silicon Valley, is clearly giving into some of these ideologies. But that, again, is not something that is unknown. We've known about this for a while. Pushing back on it clearly is what needs to be done. And I think in the wake of Logan Paul, there has been that pushback's kind of been taken into consideration, simply because Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, who is kind of persona non grata to a number of people, has come out and said that yes, she is, she's aware of the situation and she wants to make sure that they delete channels that need to be deleted. And it just happened to be like their kind of number one boy that got himself into trouble that brought this to light. So there's clearly things that are happening right now, and I can't quite tell what's the heads or tails of any of it, but I can only kind of I don't know which way things are going ultimately, but I can just tell you what I feel. Now, Carlson said the SPLC is a hate group masquerading as a group that exposes hate groups. Horseshoe theory is just what it boils down to, in the same way, kind of like Fox says that they're fair and balanced. Now, John Stossel reported that the group marked Dr. Ben Carson, Laura Ingraham, and Judge Jeanine Pirro as extremists, but not extremist groups like Antifa, which, well, I mean, I don't look at Carson, Ingram, or Pirro as extremists. They're idiots. They're morons. They're doofuses. They're ignoramuses. They're rubes. But yes, Antifa is a violent group. Now, Carlson called the SPLC wholly discredited and asked a tech entrepreneur, Eric Schiffer, for his take. Schiffer said YouTube meant well when they acted to remove further questionable content like excessive violence and the like, but that hiring SPLC is going too far. And yeah, I do agree with that. Same with the Anti-Defamation League. I mean, come on. Pepe is a freaking hate symbol. That was nonsense we had to deal with from the ADL towards the end of 2016. That was good times. Schiffer warned that the SPLC could easily hit delete for partisan reasons and that Google must be transparent with how they're curating videos. There really needs to be an apology to patriotic Americans who use YouTube for this gross oversight. Now, this has a lot to do with the fact that YouTube has been going after conservative channels recently, but then again, on RT just this morning, YouTube did come out and say that they accidentally shut down conservative channels. Saying here that YouTube has said that its removal of right-wing videos were a mistake, something conservative users are finding hard to believe. YouTube blamed the blunder on the inexperience of its newly hired force of moderators. Now, this actually does come across as more real than anything else. If you want to just look at the Occam's razor of the situation, you have to mostly chalk it up to inexperienced user error. Okay, Susan Wojcicki, over the course of 2017, had to deal with this massive, massive shitstorm that came at her feet in regards to the adpocalypse. Her job as CEO was to try to make sure that people were making money, that they were making money, that things could stay on the up and up, and that she wouldn't lose her job. Well, never mind the fact that she's been with, Alphabet or Google for 15 years, so she's not going anywhere. But she says she was going to raise the amount of people coming in to 10,000. Well, I've heard raise it to 10,000 or hire 10,000 new employees. Either way, it's like a lot of new people. Thousands and thousands of new people. So these thousands and thousands of new people are not all going to have the same politics. However, they're mostly all going to be from the, and wait for it, Silicon Valley, San Francisco area, which is predominantly left-wing, predominantly really left-wing, and they might view any kind of viewpoint like that as being something that is extremist or, hate group, things like that, because this, of course, is what the media tells them are these things, when in reality, not all of them are like that. And it requires just a little bit of research to figure that out. Not saying that these people are any good, but ultimately, this is kind of where we are. And as a result of that, yeah, there's been a weird kind of kerfuffle. And I've had this happen to me too. If you don't know, what I do on my channel is I do a live stream Sunday through Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard, where I go through 5 stories. 5 stories end up becoming, individual videos posted on the channel throughout the course of the week. And I cover a wide variety of topics. Well, earlier this week, a lot of my videos that should not have been flagged for review were flagged, and then they were confirmed by manual review. Things that, I'm like, why is this being confirmed? This makes no damn sense. And then that leads me to believe that it's someone with a political narrative. Now, I've gone to Team YouTube on Twitter, and I've complained about this a couple times, and I've had things overturned. But the sad truth of that is, though, they only really give you that time of day, really, if you are a large enough channel. And this is where there's a very big bias when it comes to how YouTube treats people. You have to be over a certain subscriber count, like 100,000, to really get any kind of special treatment. Everyone else is just kind of SOL, and that is unfortunate. That is not right. That is not fair. And I will always advocate for everyone getting equal treatment on this platform. And I think it's crap that they do what they do. I understand it based upon the sheer size of YouTube and the amount of people that use it, because people over 100,000 subscribers are like 50,000 channels, if not more. So there's a lot of people. Anyway, back to my point. My point is, this would be operator error. Untrained people that don't fully understand that just because someone has a difference of opinion than you doesn't mean that they are inherently bad people and you need to flag down their content. And this is where the system is going to hopefully get better over time, because we at least have seen here that there's been an understanding of what's gone on. There's been an understanding of what's gone down. Now, it says here, as we work to hire rapidly and ramp up our policy enforcement teams throughout 2018, newer members may misapply some of our policies, resulting in mistaken removals. We're continuing to enforce our existing policies regarding harmful and dangerous content. They have not changed. We'll reinstate any videos that were removed in error. And I do think ultimately, because this is happening right now, this is what happened to Sargon of Akkad. I do think this is what happened to Sargon, and I feel like ultimately this is where we're going to find ourselves, in the next couple of weeks as these things kind of get sorted out, right? So there's also one other thing too that happened today that is also being brought up in the conversation, and I just want to address it real quick. So this is Andy Worski. Andy Worski, has a channel of 280 some odd thousand subscribers, and he's most at this point notably known for Internet Blood Sports, which is whatever. Anyway, he got a channel strike yesterday for what appears to be violations or hate speech violations or whatever on a Francesca Ramsey video. And as a result of that, he can't live stream. He's appealing it right now. Because of the timing of everything, people are looking at this as saying that it's probably related. And I'm going to go as far as to say, yes, I agree. I think that the fact that they hired a whole bunch of new people, these new people are going through and reviewing the types of content that are being flagged, the types of content that are being discussed or being, looked at by these trusted flaggers, and they probably gave him a strike. Whether or not it gets lifted, I have no idea. Andy does tend to use a lot of colorful language, especially when it comes to talking about Francesca Ramsey, as all the videos about Francesca Ramsey he made over the course of 2016 and 2017. So I don't know if that is going to be a factor that might result in him getting his channel brought back. I did check to see whether or not Trusted Flagger had said anything about this, and if he has in fact been able to look into it, he hasn't said anything publicly on Twitter, so I have no idea what's gone on there. But looking at the overall situation here, breaking it down, because there is obviously a lot of information at play. There's a lot going on. A lot of people are calling it a YouTube purge. A lot of people are saying all these things are happening. Looking at just the available information, just from what I've shown you, it does appear that there is a bias that's happening, but it does also appear that YouTube is aware that there's a bias happening and they are doing everything they can to fix it. I think they're doing a lot of things to try to fix it. What we're looking at right now are a whole bunch of new hires that are very maybe one-sided politically, that are attempting to judge the ideas of what is or isn't considered free speech or free expression, when that isn't ultimately their job. And that is where we find ourselves. Is this going to lead to a full-on purge of these channels, of these accounts? I don't know, and I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that all the channels that have been falsely hit via Sargon and even Andy Worski get their channels back, and then things can continue moving as forward as such. If they've done nothing wrong, then they shouldn't be targeted. Sargon has opinions that might not be looked at as being the most, well, I don't know, mainstream, but he still has never advocated for violence or anything like that. Andy might use colorful language, but ultimately he's never advocated for violence or anything like that. So we have to hope that YouTube as a whole, while they're going through these growing pains, are getting themselves in check, getting everything in order. And I think, and this is where I'll probably catch a little bit of flack, but I've seen a lot of videos out there today decrying the YouTube purge and everything else, and I just have to say, you have to be patient. Just like a year ago when the PewDiePie Wall Street Journal thing happened and advertisers started pulling out as a result of all the other stuff that went down, like the Chief Keef video and the extremist content from BBC or that BBC ads are running on, caused the adpocalypse. We have to be patient. They're dealing with this as fast as they can. And that, of course, is going to be a problem for the rest of us while we try to understand it, while they don't communicate. Communication feels maybe a little bit better this time around than last year, but at the same time, we don't know. And I think just proceed with caution is my best advice going forward. I do hope this video helps. I do hope that this kind of clears up a couple things, or at least maybe shines some light on a couple things that you may not have known about. And I hope that Sargon gets his channel back, and I hope he's posting videos sooner rather than later. But if not, he's got the Thinkery, and I'm pretty sure that's still... I don't know if that's been hit either. I don't know if that's under a different email account. So I'll have to wait and see on that one too. But anyway, that's what I know for right now. I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts. Be sure to let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe, share it around if you just find it to be informative. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. And if you just want to see more content from me, and I hope you do, you can do so right now.